Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Whew. Hey, welcome back. Happy New Year. It is Monday the 5th. This is going to be one of the most explosive podcasts yet. A couple things that are happening right now. One, President Trump is moving at lightning speed. And I don't even know how we talk about lightning speed, but obviously we need to talk about Maduro. We need to talk about, jeez, I don't even know where to start. I mean, where exactly do you start? Where do we start with Maduro? He's been charged in a New York court. The judge in that case is a 92-year-old Bill Clinton appointee. And when, by the way, does 92, when do you decide to cede power? Is it, that you decide to retire? You stay on the bench forever because it's just a cushy job where liars and thieves can hang out? I equate the judiciary to something pretty sinister. That sinisterness, I guess you could call it the enforcers. So I believe that our entire system is based off of organized crime. Matter of fact, it's not a secret that people like Nancy Pelosi, her family, if you go back generations, were organized crime. And that holds true with a lot of the other people that are a part of the political spectrum today as well. And so you have the earners, and I said this before, you have the earners. The earners are the people that go out on the streets and they're the journalists. They're the people that are professional protesters. They're the people that bilk and launder money. Those are the earners. They go and make sure that you're actually aligned with them. And if you're aligned with them, then they won't take shots at you. And if you're not aligned with them, they're going to just shoot at you. Then you have the enforcers. Well, the enforcers are the judges and the lawyers that create lawfare, that attack you and sue you for defamation, like I'm going through right now with Eric Coomer. Then you have, from the enforcers, you have the captains. And the captains are the politicians and the bureaucrats. And then you have the bosses. And we're still trying to figure out who the bosses are. Like, who are the bosses? You have Soros on one side, China on the other side. You have, and there's all these competing interests that are the bosses. And then you have the bosses of the boss. You have the thing that runs all the families, the one that is approved by the families. And you can start to look at the erosion that has happened inside the United States that is directly tied, 100% directly tied to treason, state by state, the stealing of elections, state by state, at every level, from the local level to the state level to the national level. President Trump's election was not the first to be stolen, and it certainly wasn't the last. They emboldened themselves in 2022 and in 2024. And I believe that if it wasn't for Elon Musk, President Trump would have lost in 2024. And we'd be looking at something completely different. And I've heard the people that have said stuff about Elon Musk stating the fact that, Elon is Satan. I have people that are friends with me that says, Joe, I can't believe that you can't see directly through Elon Musk. Well, I want to just give you guys a little bit of context as related to that. I came forward on November 6th, 2020. I didn't want anything to do with the election. I certainly didn't want anything to do. If it had not been stolen, you wouldn't know my name. I'd be retired right now. I'd be sitting on a beach, drinking Mai Tais, playing on jet skis, enjoying my life. In large part, I got involved in all of this because of, as you know, COVID and shutting down my community, destroying and burning to the ground small businesses while giving preferential treatment to things like Walmart and Target, while treating the American people like slaves. Like, you just don't have, and that continued. And so that's when we found out about the gender, the grooming that was happening in schools and the things that they were teaching these kids. I mean, it was really, really, really bad. And we were like, how in the world is this happening? And it wasn't just to the liberal side of things. It's happening in every school system across America. It was systemic. It didn't matter. By the way, this is a slow boil that's happened for decades. The run-through institutions. But as you fast forward through it, they shouldn't have written bad stuff about me, and I wouldn't have been on that call. And I wouldn't have started FEC United. I wouldn't have done all these different things. And I wouldn't have caught Coomer. And then I wouldn't have wrote the roadmap and the model and taken it to Washington. And I wouldn't have investigated Dominion voting systems because you said I was lying, which I wasn't. I wouldn't have done any of that. I never would have met the Antifa kid. I never would have been involved in any of this had it not been for what you did, the radical left did in 2020. I wouldn't have been a part of it. I would have gone about my business being, a supporter of President Trump because I believed that we needed someone like him in office to right the wrongs, but I wouldn't have been able to articulate just how rotted our system was. And over the last 5 years, we've gotten to the bottom of a lot of that rot. Now, we haven't done anything about it yet. We still have rotted out judges that were appointed by selected, not elected governors and of different states, including the one in Colorado. We've had tax rates increase, property tax go through the roof, tollways that are done everywhere here. The poor become more poor while they're building Taj Mahals and $700, $900 million buildings as a tribute to themselves. Go look it up, Mayor Wellington Webb building. It was over budget by nearly 40%. While they let education institutions rot in the places that they say, hey, look, we're here to help. But they never were. Had Elon not aligned himself with President Trump, we would be in a totally different place. And so you have to look at all the other people that have done really good things. I look at the Patrick Burns of the world, and I look at even General Flynn getting out there and continuing to speak up. And then I look at the harm that's been done by people like Eric Coomer, who said, hey, don't worry about it. Trump's not going to win. I made sure of it. And the imprisonment of Tina Peters and the judge in that case specifically. We are, in the last 24 hours, President Trump has put up about 50 posts about election fraud on the eve of going after Maduro. Now, I'm still in the middle of this lawsuit with Eric Coomer. I won't settle. I will never settle. I never lied about any part of Eric Coomer or the Antifa kid or anything else. And something else pretty spectacular happened about a week ago. I can't really speak of it because my attorneys have asked me not to speak of it. But something pretty drastic is about to happen in that case as well. And I think that the attorneys in Eric Coomer's case should get lawyers. They should get lawyers themselves. So Charlie Kane, Brad Clover, all you guys should get lawyers. And anyway, so we go through and we got a lot of stuff that has happened over the last week that has been pretty spectacular. And then we have President Trump dumping all these things, and he went into another country and he plucked out Maduro. And did Maduro look even remotely worried? That's the kind of the tell. And I think Maduro has enough that he could write his own ticket. And that own ticket is going to result in tens of thousands of people across the United States being arrested and charged. Now, whether or not that's military tribunals or that's in the court system, I don't know how you can put it in the court system when the very people that are being arrested and charged with things like treason and sedition and RICO, organized crime, conspiracy charges. I think all of that has to go through a military tribunal. And then I think all of the judges that are appointed by these illegitimate people that were elected to office, they all have to be kicked off the bench. Every one of their cases needs to be reviewed. I also told you guys about a case out of Colorado that is directly related to Phil Weezer Weiser, Jared Polis, Secretary of State Jenna Griswold, lawyers, and it goes all the way up to the Colorado Supreme Court of untold amounts of bribery. By last estimate, around $15 million of bribery, grift, something that's been happening not just in Colorado but around the country for a long time. So there's a lot going on with Venezuela and Maduro, but it is all tied back to these people in Colorado and around the country. I believe there's going to be some level setting that happens over the next couple of weeks, and I believe a lot of people are going to go to prison. And if we'll go into another country and we will pluck out the leader of a country that is one of the biggest narco-terrorist countries in the world, then I promise you, then what comes next for the people, like, I would just tell you right now, flip. If you're John Polos, you should flip. You should flip before it's too late. Actually, you probably already have flipped. And Liberty Vote is no replacement for Dominion. We need to get rid of machines and no mail-in ballots. Here's a post that I put up. If you go ahead and put it up for me. No machines, no mail-in ballots, precinct-level counting, and in-person with an ID. And arrest the treasonous traitors to the people. I put this up in response to a post by the Skiff. And if you want to go ahead and put that up, if you would. Former CIA analyst and station chief exposed 2020 election manipulation through Smartmatic and Dominion machines in the tie of Venezuela, Cartel del Sol, and CIA, China, and Serbia to the global election fraud cartel. You want to expand it? Dominion voting systems allegedly deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide, switched 221,000 in Pennsylvania alone, and flipped 435,000 across key states. Former CIA analyst Michael Schur, PhD, a veteran intelligence expert, confirms electronic vote manipulation favored Joe Biden. The Central Intelligence Agency toppled the United States government on November 3rd, 2020, live on national TV, Schur declares, exposing a deep state coup. Former CIA chief of station Gary Burnson stated the Venezuelan cartel, Cartel del Sol, allegedly controls Smartmatic and Dominion voting systems rigged under Hugo Chavez's orders, with Chinese hardware and Serbian servers manipulated U.S. elections, including 2020. This is the link to global election fraud to multiple different manufacturers from multiple different countries. It's the same software and hardware with a different company logo slapped on a machine itself, all controlled through the same source and election keys. Over 100 countries include Canada, Brazil, North Korea, Republic of Congo, Australia, Ecuador, South Africa, Armenia, Argentina, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, El Salvador, Yemen, Uganda, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, Iraq, Egypt, Indonesia, Jamaica, Zambia, Georgia, etc. They didn't put in Mongolia. Should have. They used U.S. tax dollars through USAID, aid, web, trafficking, etc., and funneled it through multiple shady NGOs to fund the fraud and color revolutions and psychological operations through the media and the people on the ground to influence elections through multiple different avenues. And after all of this, Elon shared this post. Had a lovely dinner tonight with POTUS and FLOTUS. 2026 is going to be amazing. And if you don't remember what Elon went through, they burned down his Tesla places. I do want to take the time to say a few things. And I'll say this. My frustration is boiled over after 5 years. It's boiled completely over. And it took someone I haven't talked to in 4 years. And let me read it to you, because I think you'll understand. Somebody said, Joe, I need you to be less angry. And let me just tell you that it's really difficult not to be angry. It's really, really difficult. It's difficult because I spent 5 years being bashed. I spent 5 years having judges say that it was a probable falsity, walking past Eric Coomer, who he is. And then it took 3 or 4 years because lawyers would tell me I can't actually put this out there and don't talk about that and we'll need that for the case. And not my current attorneys, but ones previously. And Joe, we'll get to it. I had people come to me and say, Joe, don't mention any of this stuff yet. We need this. We need the element of surprise. But I had someone, and I'll say this to Cassandra, I needed to hear it. She said, it's been a few years since we've talked in person. I fully watched your social media life. I've definitely told friends you should run for governor. And when you announced, I was so excited. But please go back to being the Joe I knew on the golf course and find a decent platform. Talking shit about everyone every day isn't the way to get those voters who never pay attention. I want you to win, but you are not speaking a platform that isn't hate. Please, please, please stop talking shit about all these people and do the work behind the scenes. The more public you make the drama, the less people will support you. And I know you are capable of making the state better. So she sent that to me, and that was kind of a harsh thing to hear. And then I talked to Allie. Yesterday. She's like, Joe, you can't be angry. And then I talked to Kyle Seraphin yesterday, and I told him kind of the revelations of what's happened over the last couple of weeks. And I've had to tell my attorneys, and we're working through a bunch of stuff, and what do we release and what do we say, and then I found out I was lactose intolerant. I couldn't figure out why I was bloating. It's like, what is happening? I'm not fat, but I feel fat. So, yeah, it's a lot to learn all in the same time. I know that's really not relevant. It's kind of like squirreling. But Kyle said to me, he says, those that anger you own you. And a friend of his had told him that. And Allie wrote me this long thing and basically said that you have to get to a place of peace. And in the middle of all that, how do I get to a place of peace? How do I get to a place of peace when I can't unsee the things that I see every day? And then I've spent 5 years getting attacked. And then the death threats, I haven't even started talking about those. I mean, I had one on Friday while I was in the middle of doing the show. Somebody's piping in on the post and talking about harming my family. And the only thing that comes to mind is I want to hurt that person, and I want to hurt every person that is associated with that person. It's just me being honest. And then I spent all weekend thinking about vengeance. And then I get these text messages. So then, in all of that, I'm totally squirreling right now. In all of that, I went and watched a movie with my wife this weekend. And it was a high jump world record in 1920. Let's see here. What was his name? No, that's not it. Movie. See if this gives it to me. It's called Raising the Bar. The Alma Richards story. And if you haven't watched this is probably the only time that I would probably give somebody a look into a movie. It is, the story is a true story about a high jumper, Alma Richards' journey to win the Olympic gold medal. It occurred in the 1912 Stockholm Olympics, and not in the 1920 Olympics. So it was set differently. He's from a small town in Utah. He's a Mormon guy, Mormon kid. And so here's the element of it, is that he's getting ready to do a high jump. And you could see that the elements of the movie were written so that he would be tempted with, these pretty girls coming in, and he's like, no. They tempted him with cigarettes, and he's like, no. They tempted him with alcohol, and he's like, no, I won't do it. And it was kind of a soft way of saying that he had established a moral standard. But he went up against a German in the Olympics, and in 1912, he set the Olympic record at 6 foot 3 inches. It wasn't a world record, but it was an Olympic record. And he kept missing, and he was up against a German in that Olympics, or in that deal. And so I'm going to kind of go through just kind of a overview of this part. But he said, I need a little bit more. And in the middle of all of this, he's jumped twice. You only get to jump 3 times. He gets down on his knees and starts praying. And then he goes, and while he's praying, he just kneels down. Like he's getting ready to jump. And he's like, I just need something. I think I know what I need. I need just a little bit more. And he gets down on his knees and he prays. And then he jumps 6'3", and then the German hits the pole and he wins. And you'd say, Joe, I didn't want to watch the movie, by the way. I sat down and I was like, I don't want to watch it. And my mother-in-law was like, I want to watch something funny or I want to watch something uplifting. And I was like, The Simpsons. Not really. I didn't really say The Simpsons. I just said, oh, okay, whatever. And I'll just sit here. And then I sat down and I watched this movie. And it probably had a budget of like 500 grand. Okay, maybe not, maybe more. I don't know what a budget would be. But it wasn't a high budget film. But at the end, I had got it. And then right after that, I get this stuff from Cassandra, and then I have a conversation with Kyle, and then I have a conversation with Allie. And they're like, Joe, just stop. So I'll apologize for getting angry. And you have the ability to tell me to stop too. Jeff does quite often. He'll call me and tell me, hey Joe, just chill out a little bit. Now, let's move on to Maduro. So thank you. I'll say thank you to Cassandra. I'll say thank you to Allie, and thank you to Kyle, who's definitely my brother's keeper. I love that guy. So let's talk about Maduro and his wife. They're arrested by Delta Force. And AG Bondi had a legal announcement over the weekend about the operation. So let's go and put up this post. This is from the AG. Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Cilia Flores, have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Nicolás Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, a conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. He'll soon face the full wrath of the American justice on American soil, on American courts. On behalf of the entire U.S. DOJ, I would like to thank President Trump for having the courage to demand accountability on behalf of the American people. And a huge thank you to our brave military who conducted the incredible and highly successful mission to capture these two alleged international narco traffickers. And then Maduro did appear this morning, and this is what he said today when he was in court. Put it up. Maduro's first statement in the U.S. court today has been, I am the president of Venezuela, and I consider myself a prisoner of war. I was captured in my home in Caracas. The U.S. has no political or legal authority to kidnap a foreign head of state, is who this person said. Now let me just tell you something. He is incredibly too calm, which means that the apparatuses inside of the United States are alive and well. And whether we're talking about the CIA and them reaching in and trying to do something drastic to President Trump to regain power, right now is probably the most critical time in U.S. history and the history of the world. Because the success that needs to come against these people that have done horrible things, including these judges, including these lawyers, including the heads of these NGOs that have trafficked women and children and groomed children and talked children into cutting off body parts, and the doctors that actually perform these surgeries. When we start talking about the election fraud, it is not a victimless crime. What they have done is not a victimless crime. But we are in a very, very, very small window. And I think that President Trump is waiting to see what this judge does so that he can declare, I would love for him to declare an insurrection in every single person that was appointed, every judge all the way down, and make this military tribunals. Matter of fact, put Maduro on trial between a military tribunal. The United Nations today the ambassador, Trump ambassador Waltz, just told the United Nations that Maduro was out of Venezuela. Let's go ahead and play this cut.
Entering the United States and increasingly Europe. As Secretary Rubio stated just yesterday, this is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be used as a base of operation for our nation's adversaries and competitors and rivals of the United States. You can't turn Venezuela into the operating hub for Iran, for Hezbollah, for gangs, for Cuban intelligence agents, and other malign actors that control that country. You cannot continue to have the largest energy reserves in the world under the control of adversaries of the United States, under the control of illegitimate leaders, and not benefiting the people of Venezuela, and stolen by a handful of oligarchs inside of Venezuela. But it doesn't stop there. Numerous UN and international human rights organizations have issued reports documenting.
So from that, and what he's basically saying is we're done playing games. Now this is somewhat unprecedented, but so is the treason that's been committed against the American people by these people inside of our country. See, whether it's Russia, which I don't believe it is, but let's say it's Russia. Let's say it's China. Let's say it's these people that are down there meeting with Maduro. This is the Western Hemisphere. And we have let, for the last 2 decades, people on both sides of the aisle, the uniparty, create a system, align themselves with that system in a foreign country, and then use those systems to steal the voice of the American people, instituting tax hikes, grift and graft that goes to NGOs, the CIA, and other nefarious organizations. And then they slowly picked and groomed people out of the institutions to run each one of these different parts of our country. They were groomed for this. So whether we're talking about Polis or Jenna Griswold or Phil the Weasel Weiser or any of the others that we have in multiple states, Newscomb, these are people that are a part of an ongoing family crime syndicate that are guilty of treason. And all you have to do is look at if the systems are fraudulent and they know it, and they protected those systems, then they are guilty of treason. They are guilty of stealing the sovereignty of the people state by state. And you could sit here and say, well, every state has its own ability to police itself. But when a system is used in 40 states, 30 states, 50% of the vote of the American people is using one system that is centrally controlled, that then allows those states to create unions between themselves, California, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, that's treason against the United States. That's a conspiracy to commit crimes against the American people. And they used a system that was not just universal to one state. There was no, okay, you have your own autonomy as a state election system. No, they used ERIC. And we're going to report on this next week, or the end of this week. I reported way back in 2021, a guy named Raul. And Raul was a whistleblower that used to work for IT Fox, which is IT Fox, or Fox IT, depending on which side you're on, was a CIA front. And they basically harvested and built US-based, they were stealing Social Security numbers and people so they could then farm those 25 million. Matter of fact, guys, find that podcast. It would have been in early 2021, Raul. So I got a phone call that says, I have all this information. I need you to come overseas. So I went and tried to buy a ticket. Couldn't buy a ticket. I was going to be flying into Italy. From Italy, I was going to drive down through to Romania, and I was going to collect this information. So I have all this information. I have all of it. And this information that we have with Social Security numbers and a bunch of other information, we then started validating that information. And Raul gave us an entire interview for about 3 hours. But I wasn't allowed to fly out of the country. No one would allow me out of the country. They wouldn't let me go. So I had to call a guy that was a intelligence guy who lived overseas and said, listen, I had to send him $5,000. And I was like, here's $5,000. I need you to go to Romania and I need you to collect this information. So he did. And he took a video of it and he brought it back. And Raul, while he was doing all this, was being chased by the CIA and by the Romanian government because he was divulging information. He's now in prison. He was caught and he's now in prison. But that story of Raul over there was the beginnings of how they were stealing all this information. And by the way, this goes back to the early 2000s. And Raul said, listen, the reason why you have election fraud is because of this, and it's run by the CIA. And this would be why you have people like Sam Faddis that went and said, oh, at worst, he's embellishing it, this stuff about Eric Coomer. Well, they walked past all the information about Eric Coomer, who, by the way, I believe in my heart of hearts was recruited by the CIA based upon his mathematical capabilities in order to institute PID controllers. And I was able to take his dissertation and align it with what we saw happen in the cast vote records. Now, changing the type of, not the same math, but the same type of system, I was then able to say, all right, here's Coomer's dissertation. And this is well afterwards. This is after I got access to enough cast vote records, and I worked with Ed Solomon, and I worked with Draza, and I worked with all these other people and said, okay, let's look under the hood and let's try to put all these pieces together. And this happened just last year. So now we're talking about what's happening all over Maduro. Well, you remember the piece that I wrote, which, I mean, we'll find it, you guys find it on Substack, where I talked about Eric Coomer, that Smartmatic was from Venezuela, came to the United States in 2005, March 2005, bought Sequoia voting systems. A month later, Eric Coomer, going through all sorts of stuff, just cleared from a couple charges, couldn't have, drug addict, I mean, literally everything is working against him, couldn't have passed a background check to work at McDonald's, but then he could all of a sudden. And they made this guy who did websites for whatever company, they made him the chief architect of 17 states and the District of Columbia. From the genesis of Sequoia voting system, which, by the way, was forced through a CFIUS investigation, CFIUS, C-F-I-U-S, which is a committee that actually looks at whether or not there's national security interests that are at play, and in this case, related to, or at risk, related to the elections. And they found that it was criminal. Now, the information that they have is, I mean, it should be public, but it's not yet. But they forced Sequoia to sell and distance themselves, disconnect from the interest of Smartmatic, recognizing that in 2004, Hugo Chavez had an election using Smartmatic technology, and that we did not represent or recognize that that was a free and fair election there, using the same systems that they now were implementing into the United States. Now, if you fast forward through all this, Eric Coomer was there from 2005 all the way through the sale of Dominion, and he not only was the head of strategy and security, went from chief architect to let's put him in a lesser role. But during this transition in 2009, which is really important, Eric Coomer moved over, but Smartmatic was allowed to retain the intellectual property in the sale. So first fork that happened, Smartmatic has all the stuff that Eric Coomer worked on. And if you want to trace this back to where there became problems, where people started yelling, it was in 2006 at a Chicago municipal election in which Sequoia voting systems flew 24 Venezuelans up from Venezuela to do the elections in Chicago. This is well known, by the way, very, very well known, very well reported, which led to an investigation because of the irregularities that continued and persisted through Sequoia for a few years that resulted in the investigation, the congressional investigation through CFIUS that allowed them to say, you must sell, you must disconnect yourself from Smartmatic. Now, you would think this would be enough. But Eric Coomer went over to Dominion, head of strategy and security for Dominion voting systems. Now, nobody knew any of this. They didn't know that they were trying to expand the reach. But Eric Coomer was not just the head of strategy and security for Dominion voting systems. He was on the road show that went to state by state by state and talked about the system, including what the capabilities are of the system and the fact that it had internet connectivity, that it had a modem on the actual machine. Now, we heard how that it couldn't connect to the internet, but that was not true either. That ended up being a lie by John Polis. Under oath, he committed perjury by saying that that was the case. We found out later that that wasn't the case. So as you start setting out the pieces and parts, Eric Coomer around the same time in 2009 or 2010 got another DUI in Colorado. Mysteriously, that DUI disappeared completely. Just went away. Go try to find it, it's not there. And yet there are emails that talk about the fact that he lost his license because he was drinking and driving. 2009. So there's a lot of things tied back to Eric Coomer. But if he's the director of strategy and security, how did I find him if he wasn't out there talking about Antifa? And how does it, by the way, connect to all the other bits and pieces related to the fact that he's anti-Trump, anti-US, anti-cop, talked about killing cops, talked about F the USA, posted the Antifa manifesto, did all of these things. And he did this in a position of power that ran 50% of the vote of the American people, while he mocked people in places like Texas that said, no, you can't bring your system here. So instead what they did is they implemented a guy named Hyder Garcia, who worked with Smartmatic. And they put their sleeper cells all over the country from a place called Venezuela or other foreign countries. They brought in foreigners to run our election inside of our election system. Now, everything that I'm telling you is absolutely 150,000% true. But see, then Eric decided that he wanted to brag about it because that's what Eric Coomer does. He brags about things. And so he got out there and he got on a call and he said, hey, don't worry about it. Trump's not going to win. I made sure of it. Just a few months before the election. And you saw what happened in the election. And look, I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, but I was happy running my company. I didn't get involved in this because I wanted to. I believe that God is like, listen, I need you to help out on this deal. I need you to walk this path. And by the way, I'm going to just rub your face in mud for 5 years straight. And I'm going to let people take from you what's not theirs to take. And I'm going to let them attack you. And I'm going to let them go through all these things. And fast forward to where we are right now. I mean, we are living through one of the most decisive times in history. And what I said about apologizing, I want to apologize because, and I don't know if I want to do it this early, but I would send people like John Eastman a text message. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like we're doomed. And I would send emails to other people, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we sniffing butts? Why do we talk about things around the circle? And what's going on? Why are we doing this? And then I would see stuff and people that did things to me, like Jenna Ellis, where she aligned herself with Sam Faddis, but then didn't tell me that they actually worked with Sam Faddis, but said, oh yeah, I know him, he's a good guy. And then he comes out and visits with me, and then I get in an argument with him because he basically wants me to embellish things and I wouldn't, because I'm like, why would I say that? And I'm not central to this entire deal. I'm not the president. I'm not the runoff election in Georgia that we dealt with. And by the way, none of this, guys, none of this was even in the script, was it, to talk about today? So I apologize, but I feel compelled to tell you that for the past 5 years, I've been called everything. They're like, oh, Joe, you're a Fed. I've never worked for the Feds in any capacity, ever, under any circumstances. Now, I've had my conversations with OFAC, Office of Foreign Asset Control, when I did work in the Middle East and Africa to make sure that I was safe and that I wasn't doing anything to violate sanctioned nation status, give somebody advice, do something I shouldn't have done. I've been questioned coming in the United States. I've been detained with my in-laws when I came across from Canada. Had nothing to do with anything other than I was looking to bridge divides and solve major problems in that region. And I had no business being there. Just so we're clear. I have a gift of solving problems. I don't know how I came up with that gift. It was a God-given gift. No idea. I have no idea. I have no idea how I've lived the life that I've lived. I can't even tell you how a poor kid from bad stock could end up in a place where he can articulate and see things that you can't see. Don't know. I have no clue. But I solved some really big problems. And I sat in some really important rooms. And then I came home because my daughter went to high school. And she didn't do well. Because she thought her dad was going to die. And then I started my company. And the rest is history. But I got called a Fed. I got called, I mean, you name it, I've been called it. Oh, Joe, you know, you didn't present the evidence and that's hearsay. I just had it today. Somebody else saying it's hearsay. All because of the fact that I question the apparatus of all these influencers. And then you still have the grip that the CIA has on the community. And you know what? I just don't care. Once you get to the point where you've been sullied so much, you're done. You don't care anymore. Like, what else are you going to take from me? You're going to take my life? Well, you know, I was never making it out of this life alive anyway. But then you become more convicted. And then that conviction, as you see bad things happen in the community, and you see bad things happen to President Trump, and he's getting indicted and all this stuff, you start losing hope. I mean, it becomes a hopeless deal. And you got to lean back into things that are not of your understanding. And you got to understand that we're fighting against principalities. It's a fight between good and evil. And this is truly a spiritual war. And I didn't do well in it. I'm just going to tell you, I did not do well. I didn't do well with people attacking my wife and attacking my kids. I didn't do well with what they did to my friends and family. I didn't do well when I watched what they did to Seraphin and Steve Friend. And it was always the same people that came out that said, you need to get rid of him. And when I was with Mike Lindell and basically propped him up for 3 years and took his company public and did all of those things, it was the same suspects. The Steve Bannon's out there saying, get rid of this Oltmann guy, get rid of this Oltmann guy. I remember having a conversation with Lou Dobbs on the phone. And Lou Dobbs is like, why does Bannon hate you? And I was like, I have no idea. Never done anything to him. Then you find out that he's tied to Epstein, tied to all these other people. And I look in my head and I'm like, okay, well, that checks. And someone along the line, they don't like me in this little circle. And then Clay Clark got sued and I go to a deposition and they ask me for the Antifa kid's name and I won't give it up. So I spent 5 years, $150,000 just on fines to not tell you or anyone who the name of the Antifa kid is. For the one simple reason that I have to live in a house with bulletproof glass and thermal cameras. and I had means before they took it all. And then you have to put up with the lawyers lying over and over again. And so you start to lash out at people that like Patrick, which I did. Because I was in the room when Patrick had a conversation with Giuliani, January 6, 2021. I was in the room when all the breakdown happened, and I was at I was in the State Department meeting with counsel for Pompeo, holding up a thing that said, this is how they're going to steal the election. Now, I gave that to John Eastman on January 5th. And they grilled me. They kept going through, grilling me. How do you know this? Well, okay, well, this is what it shows, and this is the system, that they could suspend ballots inside the adjudication process, and they can suspend them. And then when the system comes down and it comes back up, they can then attach voters to those ballots. And then you can have phantom ballots that just created because you have an ADA, which can create a ballot out of thin air. And then that ballot out of thin air will look like it's been filled in with the human hand. Now, I didn't have anything. I had 0 audits at the time that I built that model. And if you fast forward 5 years later, it's still the same. So it made sense that the CIA and others would basically defame me. It made sense. But then they were like, well, we're just going to push him into the corner and he'll stop talking. But then I didn't stop talking. I just kept talking because I'm like, you know what? Screw these guys. But then I became more and more angry. And I went through these cycles of being angry and upset, angry and upset. It's enough to feel like you're just fighting an uphill battle. And then we get into today. And I wrote all these posts to President Trump, and I've read them on here 100 times. Like I write a post, and then Charlie Kirk was murdered, and then I just thought it was done. I lost hope because it was a good man. I didn't agree with him. There's many times I didn't agree with him. I didn't agree with him because he wouldn't talk about the election machines. And you have Andy out of Nevada, which Andy out of Nevada filed a lawsuit. The Nevada judge tried to throw it out, couldn't. Ed Solomon came in as an expert. Then they tried to say Ed Solomon's not an expert because he was a felon, because he used to use drones and drop cocaine to high net worth individuals and got caught and went to prison, served his time, got out, he did it in college. I mean, I know of a lot of guys that, that sold drugs in college that didn't get caught, that are now living productive parts of their life. But he's now not an expert, and they could just sully him. And then they tied that back to sullying people like Jim Penrose, and then we talk about, Roger Fuller. These are all people you can look up, by the way. And Jeff Lindbergh, who they tried to indict up in Michigan. And then Matt DePerno, who's an expert in his own right that spent a lot of time in it. So you got all of these people, right? All these people. And we didn't see any progress, and Charlie got killed, and there was this vacuum that got created, and then we saw these guys come out of the woodwork, this Bryson, whatever you want to call it, his name is, and trying to take over the limelight from Charlie. And then the censorship hasn't changed. Censorship's been the same for me and others like me for a long time, on X, on everywhere else. I've been canceled 3 times from X, twice from Facebook. They kicked me off, mostly because I get pissed off and I'm like, come for me then. Somebody will say something to me and it's like, oh, you said something wrong. I'm like, the guy just threatened me. Hey, you just threatened me, but you're gonna come after me? But I couldn't contain myself. But I didn't have the same insights of that President Trump had. And just the other day, I remember when Barron Trump walks up to Joe Biden and whispers in his ear. And I believe he delivered a message. And then I see the stuff that David Clements is doing and Mark Cook has done, going around the country on the Hand Count Roadshow. And I started to align myself with good people who didn't chase money. They just chased the goodness of God. And imagine how big of a thing that is. It's huge. But I didn't handle the last 5 years well. I've had breakdowns. And I don't mean breakdowns but just breakdowns of you look inside and you're like, man, how could they get away with all this stuff? How could this judge do what this judge has done? And this new judge in the case with Coomer is a flamboyant gay dude that was put on the bench by Polis just a couple months ago. And all of a sudden, you have the judges from above that said, okay, let's hand it off from this radical judge that basically violated everything and said it was a probable falsity to another judge, and then this judge says, I'm for rules, but doesn't follow any of the rules. My business partner's gay, so I don't care that he's gay. What I care about is that he's unethical. What I care about is that he denied every single motion that we had before him, including the fact that in the Mike Lindell case, I was found both credible and non-defamatory in my statements. They believed every word I said because I produced all the receipts, and I brought 2 boxes of receipts to the jury box, or to the witness box, and I was like, I got a bunch of stuff. Do you want to? And they're like, no, we haven't seen it. I was like, but you said that it's not true, so let's just go through it. 5 years of this. So no, I wasn't very nice, and I wasn't very accommodating, because when you get attacked, you're not going to be nice, you're not going to be accommodating. You're going to warrior up. You're going to want to fight. Because you have to carry a gun everywhere you go, you have to train all the time. And frankly, you're too busy to actually go work out. I finally got back into working out. And then we get to this place where they go in and get Maduro, which I thought the only way you were going to get to the end of this is going to be to get them to flip. And then I saw one by one them flip. And then I started to see who the really good guys are. The Patrick Burns of the world. I already knew Mark Cook was great. I already knew Professor Clements was great. I already knew that we had some great people in the middle of this. I already knew it. But others, I questioned. I didn't question Patrick Byrne after the first year and a half, but it was tough. You know, because you're doing these films and you could figure out that these guys are sticking together, and then you're like, oh, they're trash. And you can figure out really quick that they're trash. But then people are following them. And so then you're like, oh my gosh. And then you have Javon Pulitzer and the paper, but then you find out that Spokane is the paper guy. And so he's just parroting the paper guy's stuff, and Spokane is actually a paper expert. And then I go back and I compare notes, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Here are the good guys. Here are all the good guys. And then we get to here, and the left has been attacking President Trump at every turn, and the media has been lying over and over and over again. And President Trump has remained calm and cool and collected through the whole thing. And here I am over getting pissed off because I'm like, this is BS. And we're all getting pissed off. Mark's getting, to everyone. It's like, it's crazy. But none of us stopped. I still showed up every day. You still showed up every day. But there's many times, many comments where you're like, I don't know if this checks at all. This might not work. And then the left turned, and a guy that everyone said is an absolute animal and is a dictator by all accounts, a dictator who was never elected, where the people felt held hostage, kind of like you feel held hostage right now, whatever state you're in. You feel held hostage because they've been selecting people at every level, and they've been stealing your sovereignty for decades using a system that they designed, which is treason. They committed treason. And you can say, oh no, you need another person to watch it. Oh, we have another person to watch it. We have people that have stood up that said you committed treason. The system was designed to commit treason, and you should hang for it because it's not a victimless crime. Biden gets into office, millions of illegals come across the border, drugs, gangs, they rape, murder, and intimidate and destroy communities. That all happened because of stolen elections. The loss of billions, if not trillions of dollars of the American people's dollars that were siphoned out by people at the CIA, USAID, and all these other organizations in order to destroy the sovereignty of other nations, treason and sedition, because it was done with the ultimate goal of overtaking and overthrowing the US government. And if what I'm saying is not true, then I don't know what internet you're on. If you get away from CNN for just a minute, everything that I say will make sense. But then we have the guy from this Central Civil Society organization. It's an apex umbrella organization that represents and coordinates a network of smaller local grassroots organizations. It's an intermediary between donors like World Bank, USAID, international organizations, and local CSOs. And then it manages funding, capacity building. It basically is a money laundering deal. Let's go ahead and play it.
Nicolás Maduro.
What do you know about Nicolás Maduro?
I don't know much, bro, but I'm here with Central CSO, and we fight against all this with like the Trump administration, ICE, police brutality. So we're just here in support of all that right now.
And what does Maduro have to do with all that?
Shit, bro, but we're here in support.
I mean, it makes sense. Nicolás Maduro is responsible for almost 8 million people leaving Venezuela, like a quarter of their population over the last decade. I mean, he's contributed a lot, right?
Yeah. But, we just here supporting. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, go Nicolás Maduro. Can we do that? Let's do it. Go. No?
He got caught. He got caught. He got caught. Here's your guy. He got caught. He works for basically the central casting of the NGO world. And here you have Venezuelan calls out a group of liberal protesters. You have to see this. These people are so stupid on the streets that they don't understand what they're fighting for. And then I see Mark in the background. Mark, good to see you. Just give me 1 second, go through these, and I'll bring you in. Let's go ahead and play it.
How are you guys? Where are you from, guys? No? Hi, guys. Where are you? No more war. Where are you from?
Here.
Here? And why are you protesting right now? Today?
No more wars in Venezuela.
No more wars in Venezuela. And you know about the situation in Venezuela?
Yes.
What do you know about the situation in Venezuela? So, you want to give me an answer? Because we can talk. I'm not aggressive or anything. I just want to talk, actually. So we have here a group of people that they are protesting because they want no more war in Venezuela. But all these people, there's nobody here from Venezuela. So from all these people, nobody is from Venezuela. This is people from United States, this is people from another places, but there's no people from Venezuela. And actually, I am from Venezuela. Andrés Bermúdez Portillo from Maracaibo, Venezuela. I spent time in jail because of the regime of Nicolás Maduro. We have 25 years with a dictatorship. And right now, in the moment that somebody take attention of that situation, people decide to protest because they don't want war. So in the past 5 years of 30 million of people that live in Venezuela, more than 10 million leave the country. So these people is right now protesting because they don't want that we, the Venezuelan people, recover our freedom. So these people don't want that Venezuela be free. These people is just here because they want to attack Donald Trump and they want to use the name of my country and the name.
Well, what do you think of that? What do you think of that? Guy from Venezuela that spent time in jail. The same thing is happening in the United States. The state of Colorado is a captured state, probably worse than any other state in the United States. It is ground zero for Dominion voting systems. It is ground zero for the fraud that exists against the American people. It is a captured terrorist state. And I'm in the middle of it. They have victimized the poorest among us in Colorado, and they have used an election system to steal the sovereignty in just over 2 decades and put people in office that don't belong there. That is what has happened in Colorado. Right under our noses, they use the system in order to commit treason, and it is treason. Here's President Trump. He just went to Denmark, and he put Denmark on notice that Greenland might become ours following the U.S. operation in Venezuela. Go play it.
On Greenland now?
Yeah, on Greenland.
How did we come up to Greenland?
So, do you expect to take an action against Greenland?
Well, I don't want to talk about Greenland. Let's talk about Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine, and we'll worry about Greenland in about 2 months. Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days.
On Venezuela, we talked so much about energy.
By the way, I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dome sled. It's true. They thought that was a great move.
What would the justification be for a claim to Greenland? What would the justification?
Oh, I don't want to talk about Greenland now. I just say this. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And the European Union needs us to have it, and they know.
So with that said, I want to waste any more time. I want to bring in Mark Cook. Mark, welcome to the show. Oh my gosh, Tommy's here too? So he's like staying quiet behind there or something? Why did you guys bring him in?
I've been here.
Snuck in.
I've been here the entire time.
Are you serious? That whole diatribe, I went on that whole diatribe.
I've been here for 70 minutes. I was just letting you run. I don't care.
That's unbelievable, guys.
No. Hold on, no. You gotta, when you're channeling it, you gotta ride it. I don't.
How was it? How was the channeling?
It was great. No. You did. As somebody that's done almost 2,000 episodes, you ride the lightning. You're good.
I was right, Mark. I'm sorry, I didn't even. Oh man,
shut your mouth. Don't apologize.
But I was on a roll. You have to admit, I was on a roll, and I was, I was literally that stuff was on the top of my head. I was like, bing, 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 bong.
As always.
What's up, Marky Mark?
Not much, just enjoying the day here. I had to make a little surprise 2-hour drive down south, but I took a stop here so I could do this, and then I'll head back up north towards Denver.
Wow, man, I'd love to just go and celebrate with you. I'm not drinking, but I'll have a Coke with
drinking.
You. All right. Maybe do some pray. Maybe do some dua, some prayer.
We got a whole lot of eye-opening around the country here coming up, especially in the past couple days. It's going to be amazing. We finally got to the point where we've reached critical mass. And that's taken us 5 years, and we are here now. So it doesn't mean we let off the throttle. That means now we push it all the way to the floor. But we've got the mass now. Now we start winning. It's going to be great. I can't wait for all these people, millions, hundreds of millions of people, to realize what we've known for years, to finally find this out so they can actually, they're going to be free again. People have even forgot what liberty is. This is going to be great.
You did see that President Trump reposted the video between you and I, a portion of it, when we were talking
absolutely.
about the.
In fact, I just drove past about an hour ago. I drove past the restaurant where we were all sitting after an event at the church.
Yeah.
You're at the table. I knew I had this information. I needed to show it to you. I grabbed my laptop. I went right over. I threw it in front of your face and said, "Shut the hell up for a second and watch this." And you watched it and said, "Holy shit, we need to go out tomorrow morning immediately with this." And I came right down and we blew it out there. And I've traveled around the entire nation showing people that demo and a bunch of other demos, trying to wake them up for the past, gosh, what has it been, 2 years, 3 years since that? And I got a whole bunch more too. So this is awesome. And I'm glad President Trump saw it, acknowledged it. David Clemens, Professor Clemens, did an amazing job with that documentary. Unbelievable. And if you hadn't said, "Mark, get down here," none of this would have happened. All these things had to fall in place perfectly for this day right now.
You know, I've been having these conversations with people for the last couple of months. I think I called you. I was pretty distraught that one day. I was really angry. And you're like, "Joe, it'll be okay."
Wait, which day?
Yeah, right. This is very true. Look, 5 years wears on you.
It beat the hell out of me. Yeah, more than wears on you. Yeah. I feel like I'm going to be suffering PTSD for a long time after all this. It's hard. This is the hardest I've ever had to fight for anything in my life, ever, while being attacked by a lot of the very people that I'm fighting for.
But I was looking through some comments, and I had these same people, and I remember what Kyle said to me. He goes, "Joe, my friend told me," he says, "those that anger you own you." And so I'm watching the same people write these bad things about me. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm done with this. I'm done.
No, just ignore it.
It's already over. I mean, Eric Coomer is finished. He's finished.
There's no way they can ever recover from this.
And now we're getting ready to get the information out of the DC court, so I'll have all the files from Patrick Burns' case with Dominion, and you have everything got turned over to Liberty, but then we were told we can't get access to that information, right? And you know that he has No Ink, and then we know all the stuff with No Ink and B-Pro, and we know the things that they were doing all over the country as a part of this cabal. By the way, Republican and Democrat, does it make a difference, Mark?
No, there's corrupt people that have their hands in the cookie jar from every side of everything. We, the people, are the ones that are the victims here. It's not Democrats or Republicans, or it is literally a group of criminals. They've gamed the system and then designed the system to benefit them. And that is what we are all up against. And I cannot wait for Democrats, and independents are already getting there, but I can't wait for the Democrats, who are very passionate people, and a lot of them are very good people, because they have to be good people, because that's what these POSs use. They use people's goodwill to manipulate them with lies and deception. So I can't wait for these wonderful people to realize the truth, and I will absolutely join them arm in arm to correct these problems, to hold these people accountable for what they've done to all of us, because they have used all the people on the left.
What do you think, Tommy? Here for 70 minutes, and I barely even said hi. Shit.
No, you're fine. No, I think you said it perfectly. And it's not often we hear it, myself included, but overwhelmingly good people. You can't, I look at all the friends or family members I have who are left leaning, and they're amazing people. And then I find myself doing these mental gymnastics where I'm like, well, those are the good ones. But at a certain point, it's like, well, how many different people from how many different friend groups and schools, and they're all good? At what point is it statistically impossible that they are anomalies? And then realize, the evil people are the ones abusing them. There are bad people. There are bad people on the right. But no, I think Mark just said it perfectly, is good people, because that's what they do. That's the path of least resistance. The same reason you don't roll out a dictatorship and say, it's going to be a dictatorship. What do they always do? You're going to have free college, free healthcare. That's what you do, is you play on people's good nature. And I think that's an important part, and maybe talking more to myself here, to remember that is what they're doing. There's these are American people. They live across the hall from you. They're not demons from hell, and it's very easy for us to think they are. That too is perpetuated by evil people. They want you to hate each other. Yeah.
Deception-induced psychosis.
Yeah.
And they have been fed lies constantly, over and over and over again. They fed on all their fears. It got them so freaked out. They don't even know what the difference between up and down is. They don't know left from right. They don't know boy from girl. I mean, they have just emotionally tortured these people for years. And most of them don't have a clue that it's been happening to them. So helping them understand that, it's going to be hard for a lot of them to grasp that. But we have to have a lot of forgiveness. We have to be prepared to offer incredible amounts of forgiveness to those that acted based on lies that they were told. And the people we need to hold accountable aren't the victims of the lies. It is the people that perpetuated those lies upon them. And I can't wait to hold every one of them accountable.
Agreed.
All right, how do they survive it? I mean, I'm still in a defamation deal, still going through a bunch of stuff. They're basically just giving my attorneys, they just keep lumping stuff on. They're inside of a broken judiciary in the state of Colorado that is, frankly, I actually think the feds need to come in and take over the court system in the city and county of Denver. And any judge that was appointed by Jared Polis needs to be immediately fired over the last 8 years, because that was the point, the turning point of all of the fraud, manipulation, and grift in Colorado, and they were used as enforcers. And then you have to look at all the cases that they ran and all the bad things that they did to people across the state. But there's still cases pending, Mark.
Yeah,
there's still cases pending.
It's going to take some time. And yes, those people that are in those positions were put in those positions to do exactly what they've been doing. This was very well planned, very well thought out, and it was done many, many, many years ago. They are so far ahead of us. None of us saw this. This isn't something that just showed up in 2020. This is something that is decades in the making.
Well, by virtue of the fact of the secrecy. And I heard a comedian say it the other week. He was like, if the things they were doing were in the interest of all of us, they wouldn't have been doing this for the last 90 years. You don't need to trick people into being like, hey, let's all agree that you can't abuse puppies. Like, you don't need to like work behind the scenes to do that. What you do need to work behind the scenes to do is usher in a totalitarian hellscape. So that's the other thing, is like, with our own egos, not just in forgiving others, but just admitting like, hey, you got one on me. I didn't know. Sucks to suck. It's a bad feeling to feel like you got duped. Acknowledge it. Move forward. They got us. And honestly, you shouldn't feel that bad. They're very well funded. Like, you know, like,
oh yeah,
and they're professionals.
Yeah, the best in the world. It's in the same way, like, although they're all dead, Maduro's security detail shouldn't really feel bad. Hey, you got dunced by the A-team. I mean, come on.
They didn't kill any of them, though, did they? They all just put their weapons down, didn't they?
No, they killed 40 of them.
Did they really?
40?
I had on a Delta Force operator this morning. Yeah, no, we're talking about it's Delta Force.
They knocked out 40 of them?
Yeah. They blew their brains out. What are you talking about?
Oh.
I mean,
I heard that there was nobody that they didn't take anybody out.
No American KI. Yeah, what are you talking about? They're Michael Jordan.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
I'm not. Whatever. I mean, loss of life is what it is. But I mean, come on. Delta Force. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to take a chance. Obviously,
huh?
They weren't going to take a chance.
It's why they are who they are. But my point is back to the funding thing. It's like, yeah, man. It's you shouldn't feel stupid if Michael Jordan dunks on you. It's a shitty feeling, but you got goaded. So have we been duped? Yes, we were duped by a $1 trillion over the last 50 years intelligence agency. Yeah, I mean, funded and classified. So it doesn't even matter if you're good. If you can just cover it all up under national security enforced by law, that's another thing.
Well, I mean, how about failing the last 8 audits for the Pentagon?
Well, that's what I mean.
You know what I mean? It's like it's like a grift fest.
Yeah,
The whole thing is.
I mean, it's kind of like, what, are you going to audit the guys that just went and kidnapped a president in 3 minutes? Like, what do you think they're going to do to you? So it's kind of the humility thing. It's like we got duped, sucks, but move forward. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah,
I agree.
Delta Force killed all of them. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was.
He had a bunch of Cuban mercenaries for his security detail that were apparently the best of the best.
They got bested.
Yes, it's Delta Force, dude. What are you talking about? Yeah,
failure was not an option.
Yeah, their own. Come on now.
All right, so what do you think is next? I mean, if we're looking ahead, I don't want to project out what's next, but what do you think's next? Like, what are we dealing with here?
Exposure, massive amounts of exposure and accountability. But we have to educate the people. The people have to be on board with this. They have to understand what's going on. It's going to be very difficult to try to clean all this up if we got half the country fighting the cleanup crew. What we need to do is welcome people with open arms, help them understand what has actually happened, and join forces with them to all clean this up together, united. That's what I'm focusing on.
I'm normally in big opposition to, not because I don't want it to, but because I've been wrong so many times, claiming that like big things are coming. But at the same time, this is not trivial. That we just went. I mean, just really, it took me a day to kind of actually fully grasp it. He just kidnapped the president of a.
They did not kidnap. That's the wrong word.
Whatever you want to call it.
Borrowed.
I mean, it sneaked. He stole his nose. Whatever you want to call it. We flew into their capital in under 3.5 minutes, killed his security team, and then took the president and his wife. That ain't nothing. And you don't do that without having to. For whatever the thing is you're doing next, you don't do that if you don't have to. That
was not to cover up Epstein. There's something much bigger than that.
It's sure you could argue about like, oh, we bombed this, and it's like, yeah, because it was easier to do that. That's a very profound thing to do. I mean, I had on Dale this morning. Joe, you know Dale, who was on Delta Force, and he was like, this might go down as like their best thing. He was the youngest ever member of Delta Force. He was in Delta Force like 20 years. This guy's not an idiot. He was like, this might be their greatest feat ever. So when the A-team does the A-team of their own history, you don't do that. And you also don't put these make no mistake, These guys are as valuable as stealth aircraft. It takes a lot of money to create these guys. You don't risk all of that for kidnapping me, you know? It's so, to what Mark was saying, there's a reason you did this, and you also did this because whatever it is that you want to do next, there was no other way to reach it, or this was the path of least resistance. So whatever it is, quote unquote, that is coming, this isn't a mean tweet. This isn't a, hey, watch your back. We stole their president. Like, that's wild.
Borrowed.
Whatever you want to call it, man.
Okay.
Recycled, thrift shop. I don't care. We adopted him. He's now Trump's son.
There we go.
Call whatever you want.
There we go.
They stole.
But here's the other thing that we have to consider is that we took him out for crimes against America. He's going to be put in. I don't understand the federal court in the District of New York. That I don't. Do you, Mark? You got anything to say about that? I mean, it's the guy's 92 years old, on oxygen, barely can walk. It's a true story, and he's still a federal judge in the District of New York. Why would you do it at 92? Why would you continue to be? Why would you not retire?
Because you're animated by Satan himself.
I mean, that's a real thing.
Yeah. Or really good blackmail.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be working at 92 doing that. I want to be doing something, but it's going to be like helping poor people or, teaching people to read.
What would make you continue to work at 92 other than blackmail?
Helping other people. Yeah. Well, I mean,
but doing what he's doing. But doing what he's doing.
No, he's not helping. Yeah.
Whatever.
I think it's an addiction to power. I think it's an addiction to you're an enforcer. You stay an enforcer until they tell you you're not an enforcer.
I don't think Maduro's upset. Maduro doesn't look. I know nothing. He comes in last night. You see a video of him and he goes, "Happy New Year's," just nodding to everybody. You are either going to be boiling. I'm just looking at myself. I would either be boiling over with, just like spitting and screaming, or I would be so pacified and humiliated I wouldn't look up.
No,
or maybe it's just accept. Maybe your tone changes when Delta Force comes into your bedroom.
No.
It might be that.
Let me explain. Let me explain something to you. Maduro is not stupid, right?
That's
and
what
you never let somebody take from you what you're not willing to give. Period. Number one, and you don't let them take from you what is not theirs to take. And Maduro has mastered call it an art, call it whatever you want, but he's mastered the idea that I'm going to look cool as a cucumber, but inside he's boiling. He's not boiling over. He's afraid. Now, I haven't seen whether or not they're going to seek the death penalty.
I would imagine.
I don't know.
I mean, a terrorism charge comes with a death penalty.
They didn't borrow him to slap him on the wrist.
No. But I mean, are they going to seek the death penalty?
Something. I mean, they clearly could have given him the death penalty, but shooting him, they didn't. So, I mean, the sword of Damocles is definitely over his neck.
Well, yeah, I mean, but my point is that what's the end game? Why'd you bring him back? Why didn't you just shoot him in his bed?
I think there's going to be a deal.
Exactly. You're gonna make him sink. That's what I mean is by he doesn't look. I think he knows, like, hey, the fact that I'm alive, I'm already in the best case scenario.
Yeah, he knew what he did.
You have him saying that he's a prisoner of war. You declared war on the American people.
Yeah.
You deserve to hang. And so does every single one of you that did anything to the United States. I want to just emphasize this part that I think is really important. This is super important. Mark, tell me what you think. What they did was not a victimless crime. It was a crime against the American people. It was treason.
More than that. Crime against all of humanity, actually. This didn't affect just America. This affected people in other countries all over the world.
Well, we already know about that Maidan coup of 2014. Matter of fact, I was well studied on this project. This is why in 2022, when Russia went into Ukraine, I was like, I'll stand on Russia's side twice a day or every day and twice on Sunday. And everybody's like, well, why could you do that? You can't. I got called everything. Traitor. They wrote all these articles that Joe stands for Russia. It's because you have to understand what Ukraine is. It was basically the the eastern or the Western Hemisphere of the Eastern Hemisphere of the devil's playground.
Yeah. Yeah, the people of Ukraine were totally used. The entire country was used. They're pawns. People of Venezuela, same thing. Us in the United States, we've been pawns. All the citizens, all the good, just people that just want to live and let live, they've been used as pawns by these evil, corrupt globalists. And it's over. It's all over. They've been doing it to us for decades and decades. And of course, with the electronic voting systems, that just supercharged everything that they could do. It just sped everything up and made it much easier for them to accomplish what they accomplished. And fortunately, we started paying attention. And luckily, 2020 happened, or we really would never have known this, even though it's been a pain in the ass. But at least we know. And now we can fully expose it. We'll educate the public. And we have to ensure that this never, ever, ever happens again. We have to, for all of humanity on this planet.
You said that you had to go down south to come back north. Are you down there handling stuff in El Paso County, or where are you at?
No, east of Springs.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll be heading back up here, and as soon as we're done with this, I'll shoot back up. I'm about an hour and a half away.
Okay. I want to get your thoughts on something else, because as we have stolen elections, as you do in New York and other places, we have stolen elections in all 50 states.
But more than that, not just the states, boardrooms, corporate boardrooms. It's all rigged. Everything's been rigged. What do you think? All the corporate boardrooms, you know those little clickers? You know, there's companies that rent all these little clickers for corporate boardrooms, and they use them in schools and all these churches, etc.
In college,
yeah.
in the big,
you got
the
it.
big 300-person classes.
Those are used just like in the convention votes, etc. I watch it go down in California convention.
Yeah,
they use the electronic clickers to manipulate the elections, and so they're not just manipulating our political elections; they're manipulating elections within companies with these things.
Well, you remember,
and it goes so deep.
Why wouldn't they? To follow your thought, like if you're willing to do it to that level, you've already committed. Like, I'm not saying it's right, but you've already committed. If you've already rigged the presidential election, why wouldn't you rig, I don't know, the shareholder meeting for?
Oh, they've rigged it all. I mean, California, when I was there for Rachel Hamm, I was watching. I was actually her witness there watching these systems. So they got the receivers on the computer. They've got all the clickers out in the audience, and everyone's voting, in the audience there. And I'm watching them behind the scenes, and I said, hey, can I see the program that is receiving all the data from the clickers? And they said, no, it's behind this other window. We can't show that to you. Yet I'm looking at the counter of how many people are logged into the clickers, and it was, I'll just make 700 or something logged in. And then I'm watching as they do a vote. The guy pulls a pre-made slide that he already created the results, already had the graph ready, and they throw the graph up on the screen. People don't know the difference. They think what's on the screen is reflective of what they just pressed on their little clickers. And I'm sitting there and I look at the totals on the screen, and the totals on the screen, there's more votes than there are people logged into the clickers. And I flat out asked him, I said, how is there a discrepancy here? There should be exactly the same number of votes up there. And he says, oh, well, those are anonymous voters. And then I tried to get the records from them. It's not the way that works. But everything's been rigged. That's why we have to go to paper. If we don't go to paper for all of the above, even corporate boardrooms, they better go to paper. Raise your hand. Purple ink. We have to do this, because there's no way we can control these electronic systems. Everything is being subverted with these systems.
So we have to do that for sure. But I'm trying to figure out how they're going to unring the bell for a lot of the things that happen at every state level. Look, we have this stuff we're seeing that's happening with the Somalis. Like there's people digging into it in Colorado. It's pervasive here, and it's not the only thing that's pervasive. How about the fact that over $100 million went to nonprofit organizations all over Colorado that are left-leaning
Well,
bastions.
It's massive.
This is the second tier of USAID in terms of what it is in the broadest sense. The unofficial, official funding. And somebody pointed out, hey man, you can't in the same breath say the average Somali IQ is 68 and then also say they carried this out in 50 states.
No, they didn't do it on their own.
I'm not saying they're innocent. You did it. You're smart enough to know what you're doing. But this isn't the Machiavellian genius of Somalis. This is somebody using it and to their credit, they probably looked ahead and said, hey, if Trump gets back in, he might do something crazy like get rid of USAID. Here's your backup. You got to respect your enemy. And there's probably a tier 3 and a tier 4 and why wouldn't you?
Of course.
And so this is why I say that when I'm running for governor of Colorado, and the reason why I'm running for governor of Colorado is it's easy to fix this problem. You just turn off the spigot. You just turn it off.
Turn it off. That's a big part of it.
But here, let me ask you a question. Off the subject, let me ask you another question because this came up. The judiciary is rotted to the core, right?
Most of it, yeah.
Would you say that the people of Colorado or any state has a mechanism by which they can address a bad judge?
I don't know of one. Other than.
So there's no mechanism, right?
There's a second one that.
So the first thing that I would do, the first thing that I would do in the state of Colorado, the first thing, if we get no machines and no mail-in ballots, you're going to see the legislative group in Colorado switch from Democrat to Republican overnight. The majority is going to go to the Republicans overnight. I'm not talking like a week or it takes a couple years. I'm telling you right now, one election cycle, landslides,
guaranteed.
75, 80% of the Colorado legislature will go to the Republicans, period. Right?
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Like we've done all the math. Not
a question in my mind.
It'll be a bloodbath. There won't be, and the Democrats that actually go in there, it will, and when I say bloodbath, you have not seen a bloodbath of this proportion. You get rid of the machines and the mail-in ballots in Colorado.
Political bloodbath, Kyle Clark. Political
bloodbath.
That's what
I said. It's not a bloodbath. It's not like we're trying to make a mix of blood.
Right.
But no question, the entire state of Colorado turns red overnight. Overnight. Okay?
Yeah.
The first thing that I would do as governor is I would organize an office, and this is going to be probably one of the hardest things for a governor to do, but I would create a hotline where every single person that has been wronged by the judiciary can pick up the phone and call the office. And I will have a team of attorneys, and their only job is to get to the bottom of whether or not the judge was acted improperly or the prosecutor acted improperly and there was a hiding of evidence. I will become the governor of the people. I will if the judiciary has done as much damage to the people of Colorado, there should be an outlet. There should be a way that it is of the people, for the people, by the people. There should be an outlet by which every judge is held accountable for how they treat the people that are signing their checks and paying for them to be in the position they're in.
Mm-hmm. Right? And I want to see accountability for every judge that allowed criminals right back out on the street that ended up hurting or killing an American
Every single
citizen.
one of them out. Every single one of them fired, gone. I want them
more accountable than that.
You could throw them in jail.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't hurt to throw them in jail. But I'm going to tell you, we have DAs that are a problem too. We have DAs that are going after good people, and not just in blue districts, right? They're in the red districts. You have people that are conservative, like Dan Rubenstein, that are doing the biddings of Polis and Jenna Griswold and the AG, Phil Weiser. But I think that there has to be a group. There has to be a checks and balance to the power of government. And not only do we need to doge the entire government of Colorado, we need to give the people the ability to have a voice. We need to be able to go into a community and say, what do you need? Mm-hmm. And right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the government of Colorado doesn't listen to the people at all. The government of Colorado does what the agenda of the government of Colorado wants to do. That's it. Everyone else is along for the ride, and we just have to pay our taxes that keep going up over and over again while they rig all our elections. We've totally lost our voice. The state's been completely taken by these people. And so I think every single Colorado citizen would love to actually have their voice returned and feel like they live in this wonderful state again, rather than be trapped in this state.
Yeah.
Unlike, what Tina Peters, put in a cage, literally. She's in a cage right now. I actually thought about driving down there and just, knocking on the door saying, "Hey, I'm here to pick Tina up." But
they did
they've
that.
caged.
You had Peter, you had John Case and some others that went down there and handed the order, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to do it." So you already have the state of Colorado and this other states, Utah and others, Republican candidates. I'm going to tell you this. This does not just affect Democrat candidates. This affects Republican candidates that were also selected and put in those positions. And do you remember what happened in Arizona, Kerry Lake? Was it a GOP chair that tried to bribe her with tens of millions of dollars, or was it a Democrat?
I actually got to almost listen to that call live. Recording live, we'll say. Yeah, absolutely. It's rotten everywhere. We've all been played. And so people have to pull their head out of their ass.
I think it's time.
It is.
These stolen elections led to a person named Mamdani. And here's a snippet from his inaugural address last week. Play it.
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
And then Mamdani's tenant director gave an interview this weekend about what collectivism looks like for them. This is basically a power grab to destroy people in New York City. And they are literally daring President Trump to do the same thing to New York they did in Venezuela. Go ahead and check it.
I think the reality is that for centuries we've really treated property as an individualized good and not a collective good, and we are going to transitioning to treating it as a collective good and towards a model of shared equity will require that we think about it differently, and it will mean that families, especially white families, but some POC families who are homeowners as well, are going to have a different relationship to property than the one that we currently have.
The communists are in full force. They're coming to destroy this country, period.
Stealing.
That's what it's all about.
What do you think of that, Tom?
Absolutely.
Honestly, I think that it's better to see it and not just hear fear-mongering of, oh, they're communists. I think it's good. I think it's good to see it. This is going to be the only way people actually accept it as real. I don't mean it's good. I mean, if we don't see it, then it's eventually going to come all at once. I'd rather them get a little inoculation and do it in where? An extremely wealthy area. Yeah,
they got to feel it. They got to feel the hurt.
Well, they're not going to feel it, but this is a capturing. This is, again, using this collective system to capture the will of the people. This is slavery. We'll call it something. Tell me what else it is if it's not slavery.
No, it is. But I'd rather it happen now with someone like Trump in office who's going to tweet about it every day, with somebody like Elon that owns Twitter and they're not going to suppress it. It's a blessing. Take it as a blessing.
I don't know about
I'm happy to see their hand.
He has a bunch of leftists that work for him. Yeah.
As opposed to where social media was 5 years ago. That's what I'm saying.
We can use this energy to our favor right now, and I'd rather have it happen now than happen
I'd rather
in a worse time, worse position. Absolutely.
Yeah, no.
We can deal with it.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's something else that happened in New York City. Play it.
Here is Atlantic. We are hearing a sound. Come here. I think we take pretty off the Texas one. Yeah. I never thought in my life he's gonna be here hearing this in the middle of New York. Good.
Is that a prayer call or something? That we heard?
Call to prayer.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. If I hear that around my house, those speakers will be destroyed in 30 minutes. I will absolutely do it myself.
It won't even take me that long.
Well, it might take me 30 minutes to find out where they are. I'll take them down. Period. Try it. Try me.
Yeah, and by the way, this is New York City, where 3,000 of our brothers and sisters were murdered by people that ran airplanes into the World Trade Center, where it took almost 20 years to build Freedom Plaza. Yeah, so we forgot already. We didn't forget. They stole our elections and created an environment where it allowed them to do what they did. You had the Patriot Act. You had other things that they passed while they were stealing elections right under our noses. This is slavery. This is in bondage, and frankly, it's evil. It's absolute evil. But I do have some good news for you.
Okay.
You know, they did that same thing in Minneapolis and Dearborn, but something is about to happen. Here is Tim Waltz has something to say to us. Let's play it.
Major breaking political news out of St. Paul, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Tim Walz will not seek re-election as governor, and what a fall from grace this has been for him. You might recall in the spring of 2023, he pushed through several progressive ideas to the state legislature that caught the attention of Barack Obama, who went to Twitter to give his endorsement for the programs, which eventually caught the attention of people like Kamala Harris, who chose him to be her running mate as the vice president. Introduced in Chicago at the convention in August of last year, a debate that was an absolute disaster, with J.D. Vance at one point called himself a knucklehead. But after reportedly billions of dollars have been stolen from taxpayers by way of the state of Minnesota, Tim Walz says he will not seek a third term. What a remarkable 2 years in the national spotlight has been for him, Dana.
And Walz hit Trump in his announcement.
Part of the deal.
It's going to get, this is the art of war more than the art of the deal. I think that more to come. I think he will be indicted. I think Kamala Harris will be indicted. I think Governor Newsom will be indicted. I think Jared Polis will be indicted. I think that Jenna Griswold will be indicted. I think Phil Weiser will be indicted. I think Dan Rubenstein will be indicted. I think Matt, the judge up in Mesa County, will be indicted. I think the judges in the case that I'm doing, Matthew Barrett, the cases in our case related to, the Antifa judge that basically marched in the Antifa rally. I think she's going to be indicted. I think there's going to be a lot of indictments of people that have committed crimes, that have participated in this conspiracy to destroy our country and destroy our state and to victimize people and act with impunity. I think it's coming.
We don't have a choice. We have to.
And I think fraud has everything to do with it. They've defrauded the American people over and over and over again. Here's the Somali daycares in one photo. Teo Daycare, Nunya Daycare Center, and Gedi Daycare. Licensed for 90 kids, 71 kids, and 65 adults. Teo gets $5.16 million over 2 years. Nunya gets $2.58 million over 2 years. They're boarded up but listed as active. The fraud is staggering. Staggering.
Oh. Just damn.
How about that?
I was thinking
all over.
I thought it was going to be bad and just show 3 storefronts. That's 3 signs over a boarded window door.
3 signs, boarded windows, $8 million. I personally am on I don't think Americans should pay income tax. I think property tax should be finished. I think we should get to a place. Refunds. I bet you we could cut our budget by 70%. We could cut our federal budget
and have no visible difference.
No,
that's correct.
What would be different? Nothing. 13 aircraft carriers. All fine.
Yeah.
Border Patrol, weather, National Oceanic Services, Los Alamos, Livermore. Nothing different. Nothing different.
The amount of fraud and the people that have committed that fraud. I put up a post, and I will just read this to you to get your thoughts on it, and then we'll close out with you. But I really want to get your thoughts on a post that I put up where I asked the question. right? And I think that this is selfishly for me, but you guys go ahead and talk while I handle this deal.
I think there'd be no discernible difference. I think it would be 70%. Honestly, yeah, I think you would have people making or keeping more money. I would imagine you might even be incentivized to do more, and thus the remaining tax bracket would probably actually get more. You'd be raising all the ships. You'd have a larger tax base. I think that's what. I was always under the impression that there's a decent amount of fraud and waste. I mean, and it's it's a trope as old as time. It's all the government. I'm pretty cynical and hateful of the government. I'm a little shocked. USAID, I'm a little shocked at I figured what are the smallest stealing 10,000, 3 billion, or excuse me, 9 billion. The craft sending the images back from Pluto right now costs 3 billion. We could have done that 3 times in exchange for 60 IQ retards not stealing money. Admittedly, I'm a little shocked.
It's staggering. Absolutely, totally staggering. And it's not just USAID. It's all of the above. We've all been getting ripped off because when you if you have criminals that use corrupted elections to put themselves into positions everywhere, and they are the police and they are the prosecutors, then it's a free-for-all for all of their crimes. And that's why we have an entire country pretty much run by criminals right now. Now, I'm not saying every single person's a criminal, but the criminals have had free fare everywhere throughout this country for decades now, and they've embedded themselves like a cancer. So I am excited for the chemo we have coming.
And if you look at how much they openly hate you to your face, why would there be any moderation when behind closed doors and with the illusion that you're not going to get caught, would they, I don't know, pace themselves when the money bag is ripped open?
And they're demons.
Why would they? The bratty kid that steals things, why would he find a conscience on Halloween when there's the bowl of candy outside and says, please take one?
Of course, they're going to take everything they possibly can.
Exactly.
Obviously.
And I think it's bad it happened. I'm grateful we're seeing it because I think seeing it now will have more of an effect on hearts and minds than 50 years of, conservative talk radio saying that it's corrupt.
No, we won't last 50 years. It's over. It's reached a boiling point now.
My point is the last growing up, you hear my grandparents listen to Rush Limbaugh or something.
Oh, yeah.
Everything I ever heard from then till now has had less effect than 48 hours of seeing these videos about Somali daycares on Twitter. That's what I mean.
And that's great. We gotta wake people up.
I'm very grateful it's happening. It's a blessing. The Lord's given you a blessing. Thank the big man.
So I want to get your thoughts on this. I put this up here because of the division on the Republican side, and in part this has a lot more to do, I think, with Mark. You know this about me. I will call a spade a spade. It doesn't matter to me. Look, if you're a pedophile and you say you're a Republican, and you call me up and Joe, I'm really sorry. I'm like, dude, I want you to go in a wood chipper, right? I mean,
yep.
You're my friend until you decided to hurt a child, right? And you're not my friend anymore, right? So I can't be aligned with those type of people, right? But I'm also super loyal. But I'm not going to be loyal while people do really bad things. That wouldn't be loyalty. That would be stupidity. That'd be selling out your soul. At the same time, I don't think that loyalty and honor means that you have to belittle each other. And we spent a lot of time on the one person like Dave Williams. Dave Williams is one thing that you don't like, and instead of picking up the phone and calling Dave Williams, you eviscerate him and then call him part of a rhino.
Yeah, we can't do that. Pick up the phone.
So I wrote this. I have a question for you all. How do we get to the place where we can hear the community if it is divided from itself? I've met Mark Baisley, Scott Bottoms, Greg Lopez. They are decent, good men. Vicki Tompkins is a decent, good woman. Dave Williams, decent, good man. I could go down a long list. Why is it that the first time that they defy your wishes, you say they're bad? And I'm not talking about the cartel picks. I'm talking about those that have served honorably. Now, with that said, Victor Marx gets out there and talks a psychobabble and does a ridiculous gun takedown as a circus act, and people act like we are minions and sitting in front of an oracle. Make it make sense. We want to be entertained, or do we want to fix an entirely dysfunctional and broken society? The one thing I want to see is the people in the community telling political leaders what they need. If we did that, priorities would shift, budgets would drop, people would have opportunities, and the communities would thrive. Leaders don't listen inherently, and when they do, well, the mountain to climb becomes insurmountable. It's become the ethos to do what they want, and it's become a reaction to eviscerate the leaders for following a system not designed to represent the people. It's a literally special interest in fringe ridiculousness. And when it ends badly and the politicians get amnesia, we are all of a sudden surprised with the outcome. The system is not designed for the people. And this slow boil of indecency is inevitable because the people's voice never was the goal or the objective. It was always about taking more. And if that's not true, show me when the people have ever had anything other than adjusted to a new suck, regardless of who is in power and what side of the ideological aisle you sit. This is a real question. Governing is not hard if the goal is the people. It used to exist, but like an employee thief in a company that exploits a vulnerability and robs it blind, so too does a government has much of the same. Only the expectation is that this is the norm, not to be held accountable. A thief and a liar goes to the place where thieves and liars can thrive, hence the apparatus of power, government. President Trump is trying to extinguish the rot, but it is a place that liars and thieves are drawn to. So the government must be gutted and tens of thousands arrested and punished at every level of government. When the rot gets so deep that the lie becomes the truth and the truth becomes the lie, we lose sight of the opportunity for decency, and that betrays the people. Not because of the lack of desire to do the right thing from our leaders who are decent and good, but because the obstacles and barriers of change are nearly out of reach with the sheer density of impropriety. So what is the answer? How do we do this when the powder keg is so large and so volatile? I'd like to hear the answer. Tell me. How do we rip out the thieves and liars, fire the bureaucrats, and restore the communities? I'm all ears. Let's start with a prayer.
Well put.
Thoughts?
It's genuine. People are hurting. They're hurting all over the place, and they can relate to that. And they don't need to be. That's the crazy thing. They don't need to be hurting, but everyone is in such a hurt as a result of these criminals that have done all of this to all of us. And so when we remove these criminals, people will be able to achieve that happiness again. It's right around the corner. We just got to get people to understand it's going to be a little treacherous gut in there, but it is right around the corner, and a lot of better stuff is coming. The pain is going to go away. We can fix the people's pain, giving people the voice, giving people true hope, returning the country to what this country is supposed to be about. I can't wait. It's going to be the most exciting thing ever. But it's going to take work. It's not like the work is over now. The next phase of the work is just beginning right now. We finally have our footing again, though. So we need to take advantage of the footing that we have. And now we've got to identify the environment that we have, the people that are involved, and what tools we have available to us. And we got to educate the people. We can't do this without them. We can't do this if people don't have their eyes open and don't understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. If we have the people and we are united together, we will absolutely crush these demons, hands down. And it'll be quick as well.
Well, it certainly needs to be a lot quicker than it is. I need to tell you guys something. This just came in. I have not validated it yet. I think it would be good for us to actually put it up, though. I don't even know what to say about this. And this literally just came in. Mark, you're going to need to get on this. Tommy, you're going to need to get on this. And what I mean,
okay, what's going on? Let's see it.
This is a post from Dr. Jan Halper Hayes. Not sure.
I like Jan.
I've had her on the show. You like her?
Yeah, I did a show with her not too long ago.
Please read this so you understand the significance that follows in the next picture. You ready? Breaking: Venezuela's former chief of national intelligence, Hugo Carvajal, has officially released every U.S. senator who is on the Venezuelan list of politicians who have been receiving millions of dollars in kickbacks from the Maduro regime and Venezuelan drug trafficking organizations that make up his government in exchange for using their government positions of influence to undermine President Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth's ongoing war with these narco-terrorists. Every one of these senators is guilty to providing aid and comfort to the enemy during a time of war and has the blood of the fellow American citizens, hundreds of thousands of whom died of drug overdoses every year at the hands of these criminal drug trafficker organizations that bring deadly drugs into our country, on their hands. May each and every one of them be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and may their names forever live in shame for their treason. Below is every U.S. senator on the Venezuelan list.
I'm not shocked looking at the list. Hey, Ruben, how you doing, buddy? Shift, Bennett, Hickenlooper.
Holy shit.
We'll see.
Yeah, look at the Republicans on there. Chuck Grassley, Johnny Ernst.
We still have to verify it.
Mitch McConnell.
We want it.
Rand Paul, Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins.
Let's
Angus
verify
King.
it. But if we verify it and it's legit, I'm down.
We're not verified yet, guys. We're not verified, but you can go do the dirty deed and looking into it.
That was over 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
All right.
How about that?
No,
all right, guys.
Isn't true.
I wish I could stay on here for longer, but I can't. Just a shout out to the guys that have been with us for a long time. It's going to get spicy. I see some new names in there.
Fun year. It's going to be a good year.
The list has not been verified. They came out a couple days ago. I just saw it.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been verified. And it's been up for over 24 hours, which I feel like
it
would be the biggest news story on the planet, and it's not. Now, the media's full.
It doesn't
horseshit.
mean anything. It doesn't.
No.
mean
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm just saying, it's a mighty big claim.
It is a huge claim, but not surprising given what they've done on the election.
Not surprising at all. Not surprising at all.
But I can tell you right now a few of those people that are definitely in on it. Definitely. So we'll see.
I won't be shocked if it all turns out to be true.
I'll give you the final word.
Buckle up, have faith. We've got this, but we have no choice either. So make it happen, because this country's either going to live or die this year, and we're going to make sure it lives. So thank you, both of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Mark, God bless you, brother. Thanks for everything. Let's get together this week.
Sounds good. I'll call you on my way up.
All right. Wow. So, Tommy, you can let Mark go, guys. You can let him, there you go. Put Tommy back up. Where's he at? Tommy leave? Did Tommy go?
He's there and talking.
All right. Guys, all right. So Mark is one of my favorite people, just so you know. And I got to tell you, he's a stud. He's a stud. He's been kind of the one to call me and says, Joe, are you good? And I'm like, no, I'm not good. I want to hurt somebody. He's like, Joe, you can't hurt anybody. I'm like, I can't or I shouldn't. I got a list. It's been a powerful 5 years, Tommy. Powerful. What do you think is next?
A slow and continual positive trend, I think. I don't think it's going to be nirvana and utopian, but I also more and more am confident that it's moving sternly in the correct direction, backed by it's a big thing to go and nab Maduro. That's the gold to the currency. That's the backing to the hopium that something's going to happen. They kidnapped the president. Like, you know, like that's.
They didn't kidnap him. They went in and took out a war criminal.
They kissed him on the mouth. I don't care. You can call it whatever you want. Delta Force raped him. I don't care. They grabbed him. He's back here. That's insane.
And 40 mercenaries got put down like quick. It's actually 43 if you believe this report.
So I'm positive that things are moving in a good direction. And it's, you know, it's good. We've all been praying for it. It's good.
Yeah. All right. Somebody said that we're getting cut off. Guys, you can hear me, right? Everybody can hear me? Yeah, but they can hear me there? They're saying that it's frozen. I go, I don't think it's frozen. Yeah, not frozen. This is where they basically mess with our feed over there at Rumble. All right. Let me just say it this way. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. You can catch us on untamednation.com. You can follow Tommy. You can follow me at Joe Oltmann. I got my old handle back, and they did not give me all my people back. So I did not get all my followers back, but they gave me back my handle at Joe Oltmann. So I get to keep that, which is really good. Yeah. Susan Rice, good to see you. The good Susan Rice. Yeah. Peeing on, watch yourself out there. I'm heading on a swizzle. Swizzle. Sizzle. Swizzle.
Just stroking out.
Yeah.
Head on a skizzle. Skez on a hizzle.
Swizzle.
Anthrax Part 2.
Yeah, no kidding. It's going to be good. Oh, it's a swizzle. It's not a swivel. It's a swizzle. It's not a swizzle. It's a swivel. I mean, it's not a swivel. It's a swizzle. You got to have a little bit of stuff to it. All right. You want to pray us out, Tommy? You want me to pray us out?
I got it.
All right. Pray.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Saint Michael, the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God Almighty, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits that prowl about the earth, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. I love that.
I want to tell you guys everything that everything's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. We're going to be good. All right, make sure you follow us, share, hit all the stuff, all the good buttons. Yeah, I think it's going to be I pray it's going to be a good year. I pray that justice.
But you have to don't put a qualifier on it. It's also, if we get shot in the face today, that's also good. Truly understand, this is God's plan. There's not a I too would like to see the country liberated. No matter what happens, it is good. It is God's plan. Now, I selfishly, I want to see the one where all these people get, hung. But it also means that it's all God's plan. There's not a single atom in the universe that is out of place. So, as hard as it is to believe, that's the case. So, it is going to be good because it already is good.
I would agree with that fully. All right, God bless you. Kyle, thank you. Seraphin, thank you for that words of wisdom, right? I appreciate you, brother. And I appreciate all of you that are listening right now, whatever section you're on or wherever you're listening. And remember that go watch that movie. If you get a chance to watch the movie, go watch the movie. And it's called Rising the Bar, the Alma Richards story. I think the most powerful part about it was the prayer, and that what was able to be accomplished with prayer. So we have to get back to the pray, stand, speak, act. Always come back to prayer. I am guilty as charged for letting anger get the best of me at times. And that just happens when you just feel like, I guess you just feel like you're losing. Man, I wish that I just could set it aside. I hate seeing evil win. So, but we know things take time. It all happens in God's time.
We'll wrap it with a great meme I saw, and it's God with his hand on his back, and it's when God chose you to carry out his plan, he already factored in the fact that you're gay and retarded. So you're going, God, I have all these issues. Going, I know, I read the dossier. You're good. You're good. It's like, all right. He already took into account everything that is you, and he still chose you. So yeah, I gotta run, Joe. I
All
love
right,
you, brother.
take care. God bless you guys.
God bless
We'll see
everybody.
you guys soon. Oh, by the way, dude, you got the new song? Did you guys get the new song? You got the new one? All right. Okay, good. Play that too. All right. God bless you guys. We'll see you soon.
Rising from the fight for the forgotten and the free, exposing rigged machines, Kuma's lies, dominions deceit, pays a grand each day, shielding truth from corrupt halls, but he won't back down, standing tall through it all. Argentina Peters break the chains that bind her tight, hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night. Restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have their say. Enrollment, it's our rally call. Truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people. Set our great state free. Help the single moms, bring back trade school strong. Opportunity for youth, where the brave belong. Audit every NGO, ban the wolves that roam. Reclaim our stolen land, bring the power home. Eric Kuma's fraud dominions, rig design, expose the stolen votes, cross the dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash the fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed for the have-nots. Rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have the say. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call. Truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people. Set our great state free. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Governor Oltmann, freedom forever, Colorado rise up untamed. In the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam, Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew.